I think something that's really important to note about metamodernism is that ironic sincerity, especially of all of the different things from the metamodernism manifesto, is something that has really persisted past the lens of just film or art or literature. I feel like ironic sincerity has really passed that boundary and really kind of burrowed itself into social media, especially for like the younger generation who, rely on social media for a lot more than just entertainment. A lot of people rely on social media for, news and source of like the political climate and things like that. We don't like, contrary to belief from a lot of the older generation, we don't just consume things that make us laugh, things that are funny. We consume a lot of social media about genuine things. And those things that we learn about on social media, we also, can have conversations with the older generation about and be on the same kind of wavelength. We get our news and, our knowledge of the general climate of the world and of society right now through social media and through, the topics that are being brought up and things like that, through what other people have told us about those things. But the way that most sources, the way that most people online kind of describe or go about, presenting these facts are through a very ironic lens. There's a trend that's been going about for a long time now and it's still quite popular. And it's called the point of view trend or POV. And the way that works is, it'll be a skit of some description, but it's the way that it's titled, it will be POV or point of view, Gen Z as lawyers. And what those videos tend to kind of, display, although in a very exaggerated tone, is how Gen Z or the younger generations, act very differently than the older generations. Their priorities are very different, but it does so through such an exaggerated and ironic lens, where it's like the people making these videos could be Gen Z, but they could still be kind of taking the hand out of themselves of the way that they're viewed by other people. Because these videos, especially the like POV Gen Z doing this, although it could be Gen Z making them, it's actually them on a layer beneath the surface. It is Gen Z making fun of the way that the older generations view them. But you're only going to know that if you know context and if you have enough experience on the internet to understand that. It's that constant kind of tone of sarcasm that we are experienced with and that we are handed to us through social media. From the perspective of those generations, we're viewed very unseriously, we're viewed as very, stupid nearly. A lot of older generations, a lot of older people kind of tend to view us as like lazy and stupid and things like that. But it's just communication is very different nowadays, I think. And I believe that yes, we are quite a silly, generation, but that doesn't undermine our beliefs about topics and how we view the world. In fact, with the access to social media, I would argue that we are one of the most privileged generations in that we are quite cultured. We know a lot about other cultures and a lot about how other people behave and how, social norms and stuff. But those social norms are changing. So to other perspectives, we come across as very immature nearly. But that's kind of where the ironic sincerity comes in because, a lot of the stuff that we do produce and we do put online, even when it is determining or discussing a very serious topic, is always kind of, masked with this jokey, tongue in cheek kind of ironic flavouring to it. I believe that as a generation, intentionally or not, we've mastered being sincere and cynical at the same time. We've both become the most unserious generation, but also, I'd argue, the most vulnerable and emotional. Very easy to listen to people's plight. We are a very cynical generation, but also from experience on the internet, we know more than other generations know and are aware of how the media can twist things, and that leads us open to express and to develop our own worldviews separate to other people's. We don't be as influenced by other people's decisions and their experiences as we are by our own. But we're also very sincere, I think we're one of the most sincere generations because we're not as scared to say what we think anymore. And I think that's very hopeful for the future of humanity.